Hi everyone, this is Jaleesa Campbell, and today I want to present to you my Inquiry Project digital presentation entitled Finding Equipment for Living and Hidden Figures for Community College Students' Academic Success. This presentation is for our Communication Fluency class. Hidden Figures captures a segment of three African American women's lives as they work for NASA. The three women, Katherine Johnson, Mary Jackson, and Dorothy Vaughan, are mathematicians who initially worked as human computers for NASA. In this movie, you'll find these three women supporting each other as they work through racism, harsh words, and other circumstances while trailblazing their own unique paths. As the main character in the film, Katherine Johnson, played by Taraji P. Henson, was a brilliant child who later for NASA continued to demonstrate her abilities as a mathematician even alongside men. Most notably, Katherine checked the mathematical figures of a reluctant Jim Parsons, but she played a key role in getting the first American man into space. And then we have Dorothy Vaughan, who was played by Octavia Spencer. She was a more outspoken character and also a mathematician who was like a supervisor to the women who worked as computers. Most notably, after discovering the IBM machine that NASA acquired, she took it upon herself to learn the programming language Fortran and program the machine. She eventually became supervisor of the women who worked in the data center. And then we have Mary Jackson, an outspoken character as well, who worked with engineers on the space capsule. She later decided to seek her engineering degree and persuaded a judge to allow her to attend a Caucasian school. She became the first African American female engineer for NASA. And given that this movie captures a segment of these women's lives, their trials and triumphs, I contend that there are lessons and helpful takeaways within this film for community college students. Now, while working as an adjunct English instructor, in which I taught developmental level English courses, I and a number of my colleagues noticed that many students just weren't performing well or even finishing these courses. Developmental courses are intended to refresh students' knowledge on basic concepts in a subject area and to help prepare them for collegiate work. Now, while the intention of these courses is good, after completing some research, I found that the issue that we'd uncovered was actually not so much of a local problem as it was a national problem. According to a 2017 publication by the United States Department of Education, students in developmental courses are less likely to complete these courses and, in turn, prolong the time it takes to finish their degrees. Additionally, according to an article published by Sarah Bucci-Maritz in 2017 as well, an estimated $7 billion of student and taxpayer money funds these courses. So, while our nation seeks to fund these well-intended courses, our students are not performing up to par in these courses or even passing. Therefore, a problem exists. There are strategies now that have been proposed and tried to help resolve this problem, and I would like to add that students in these courses could also benefit in an abstract manner from lessons that can be learned through film. Scholar Kenneth Burke termed the concept equipment for living when referring to how people can learn strategies or methods for coping with life situations. Several other scholars, to include Tony Adams, Daniel Laird, and Stephen Young, agreed with Burke's concept and also examined how equipment for living can be found in various types of works. Particularly, I want to note that Tony Adams mentioned how equipment for living can be used to manage bad situations if we pay attention to the lessons and experiences embedded in narratives. Therefore, narratives developed through film, such as this one, can be used to instruct and guide someone through various circumstances of life. And this brings me to my thesis. The film Hidden Figures provides equipment for living for community college students who struggle with successful course completion. In the following slides, I want to share with you the equipment for living that I gleaned from the film that can help these community college students. Number one, students need motivation. Motivation as we know it can be from within or from without. For instance, I want to talk about a scene that featured Mary Jackson. So Mary was speaking with the lead engineer that she was assisting while working on the space capsule. He asked her for her opinion, and after listening to her, he asked, "Well, why doesn't she just consider becoming an engineer?" Well, she mentions that this is impossible for an African American woman like herself at that time. But as we later learn, she takes this suggestion, goes before a judge, and has her case heard, and is admitted to an engineering program despite her race and gender. Students sometimes need this type of nudge, an outside nudge, to help them reach higher. And number two, students need to work hard and have discipline. I want to talk about a scene that featured Katherine Jackson. Now, Katherine is seen in several scenes in which she's writing out mathematical equations. And Katherine personifies this theme as she continues to do the work and assignments that are put before her despite facing racism and discrimination. When she is told to check behind an engineer's numbers who despises it, she does so anyway, despite his attempt to make the task more difficult for her. And number three, students need community. They need the support of the right people. In the film, Catherine, Dorothy, and Mary are supportive of each other as they work together and spend time outside of work together. It's important for students to have support because a lack of support creates isolation. And in isolation, they may have less of a chance to develop the skills that they really need to be successful. To test whether students in developmental courses would find equipment for living in this film, I would survey students in 8 developmental level courses at York Technical College. And then I would randomly select the first 15 students who desire to participate through a random name generator. Next, I would host a viewing of the film in an auditorium on York Tech's campus. And then lastly, I would provide the students with a form containing 6 questions for their responses. The research questions that I would ask these students to determine whether or not the film provides equipment for living are as follows. Number 1, what were your thoughts about the film prior to viewing it? Number 2, what are your thoughts about the film now? And number 3, do you believe that students who view this film can take away something that can help them succeed in developmental courses? And number 4, if so, what is one takeaway that students can use to help them succeed in developmental courses? If not, why not? Number 5, would you apply this takeaway to help you succeed in your course? And lastly, number 6, how would you apply it? For my expected results, I anticipate that the students would find takeaways from the film that could help them to persevere and complete their courses. Some of the experiences of these women may resonate with these students. One might have been a Catherine, for instance, very intelligent, but belittled for his or her capabilities. Or one might have been a Dorothy, expected to take on much without a lot of recognition or acknowledgement. Or one student might have been a Mary, very talented, but not viewing the opportunities that are available to help him or her succeed. Although the film might be entitled Hidden Figures, students can certainly find equipment for living in the narratives that it depicts. These are my references, and thank you so much for watching.